Winston Churchill and the establishment of the State of Israel. Winston Churchill was an old-fashioned imperialist, which is why a lot of people don't like him. By the end of the First World War, the British Empire had run its course, and there was a general recognition that people would rather live in their own countries than live in colonies. Churchill wanted to keep the empire going, and in this sense he was more of a 19th century man than a 20th century man. However, there was another side to him which was more humane. He was never really a hater. Even at the height of the Second World War, during Britain's darkest hour, he did not encourage hatred to our enemies, but compassion. On July the 14th, 1940, in a speech given to the House of Commons, Churchill said, "We shall show mercy, but we shall not ask for it." This is relevant because Churchill hated tyrants. For the first half of the 20th century, Winston Churchill was interested in and sympathetic to Zionism. He hated tyranny in all its forms and had reacted strongly against the Tsarist pogroms in the first years of the century, and always understood the desperate need of a haven for Jews. He was colonial secretary in 1921 and 1922 and pushed for a Jewish national home in Palestine. In 1936, the Peel Commission, formerly known as the Palestine Royal Commission, headed by Lord Peel, was created to investigate the causes of conflict in Palestine, which was administered by the United Kingdom. Churchill told the Commission that he had always believed that the intention of the Balfour Declaration was that Palestine might, in the course of time, become an overwhelmingly Jewish state. Churchill never wavered in this respect, even through the Second World War, and opposed the Foreign Office and cabinet members who wanted to find a solution to the Palestine question which favoured the Arabs. Foreign Office diplomats have always been pro-Arab. This may hark back to the days of empire when there was close cooperation between the British government and various Arab leaders. Also, there had been a close relationship with Arab nationalists in the First World War when they fought with the British against the Ottomans. The pro-Arab sentiment among the British establishment led to a dark chapter in British history during the 1930s and 40s. If you want to know more about this, you can read a book called O Jerusalem by Larry Collins. Promises that had been made to the Jews were broken, and promises were made to the Arabs that could not be kept. The Arab Legion was a British-trained police force in Transjordan that became an Arab armed force. In 1939, John Badgett Glubb, better known as Glubb Pasha, became the Legion's commander. It became the best-trained Arab army. It was used against the new state of Israel in 1948 during the Arab-Israeli War that followed independence, when it still employed British officers. Churchill's electoral defeat at the end of the war meant that he could not carry out the policies he had in mind for the Jews in Palestine. He had to watch powerless as Labour's ghastly anti-Semitic policies were put into effect in Palestine. Ernie Bevin was Foreign Secretary during the period when the Mandate for Palestine ended and the State of Israel was created. He was a man who believed communism was a Jewish plot, and he was an ideological anti-Zionist. He thought the Balfour Declaration had been a mistake. Britain made such a mess of things that they had to hand over the whole mandate to the United Nations in 1947, after 3 decades of protests, riots and revolts. I believe that Britain's anti-Jewish stance after the end of the Second World War contributed to a period of 70 years' decline on the international stage. For more on Britain's decline, you can see my video on HMS Hood, which is on the YouTube channel and on the website. Despite the appalling mistakes of the British government after the war, Churchill's pro-Jewish stance was never forgotten in Israel. On November the 4th, 2012, a bronze bust of Churchill was unveiled in Jerusalem. The initiative for erecting the statue came from Anthony Rosenfelder, a trustee of the Jerusalem Foundation, who felt that Israel lacked an appropriate commemoration of Churchill's role in creating the Jewish state. Despite his human failings, Churchill stands among the greatest British friends that the Jews in Israel ever had. So thank you for listening. If you found this video interesting, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.